What is happening, everybody? MG here, MG Covers, bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video, Winning at Sports Betting, Real Life Illustrations of the 3 Key Concepts. I'm super excited to bring you this video. Before we do that, if you have not subscribed to the channel, greatly appreciate you doing that. We have a total of 416 videos. If you want to learn how to do this business, improve, great channel to subscribe to. If you want to follow me on social media, MG Covers, Covers spelled with a Z. Also, today's sponsor of this video is Betonline. Betonline is one of the best, if not the best, offshore book in the business today. If you join, they're offering a 50% welcome bonus. That means, for example, if you deposit $1,000, you will get a $500 welcome bonus for a total of $1,500. And that's a 10 times rollover, which is really good. So if you're interested or do not have an account with BetOnline, I encourage you to do that. Click the link in the description box to join. That's very important to do that. All right, so let's get started with today's video. And what we're going to do is we're going to cover 3 key concepts in sports betting. I think it's very important. Number one, we're going to talk about money line dogs. And as you know, I'm a huge advocate of playing money line dogs because it makes winning and turning a profit so much easier. And we'll look at this first example. This was from 2 days ago on July the 19th. You can see these are basically my plays for today. We played Cleveland -1.5 plus 123. So we played Cleveland on the run line. I want to go to that actual game here and look at the actual line for Cleveland was, depending on the book, -140, -137, somewhere in that neighborhood, right? However, we played Cleveland on the run line. And so one of the key concepts in sports betting is to play money line dogs in all sports, whether it's NFL. We have NFL coming up here a couple months. For example, the application of this concept to NFL, if you had a team, say, +3, it's advantageous to play that team on the money line for, say, +150 as opposed to playing them taking the points at +3. Because in the NFL, underdogs cover more than favorites. And 80% of those teams that cover will also win outright. So advantageous to play on the money line. And the second reason is if you lose a game, match, whatever, on the money line, you pay 0 juice. And what I mean by that in this example, so we lose our first game on 7/19. Now, look what would have happened if we played them on the money line. We would be, just for the sake of this example, say you wagered $100, we would have been down $137, right? Because that was a loss. Where in this particular example, we played them on the run line. So they lost 1/3 unit, so we were down $333 here in this example. Okay, so let's move ahead. 9/24 is when we place this wager on Minnesota for 1/3 unit. Now, so we played 2 dogs. Now, what's important about this is we only need to win one of these to profit. Okay, so if you go back to this example again, so if we play Cleveland -140, and let's say that wager wins, and this wager here, Minnesota, loses, what do we win? We win nothing and hit 50%. Where in this particular example, Minnesota did win. We'll scroll down here, let you see that one. It was a late game, so they win 6-3. So therefore, if you want to look at sort of the summary here, so let's do this. So Cleveland was a loss, right? And we wagered 1/3 unit. So a full unit for me is $1,000. So we were in the hole, $333. And then we ended up winning this one here, Minnesota, at +133. And that was a win for $443. And if we subtract these, we would get 110. So a net gain of $110. So going 50%, whereas the previous example, in this example, if we play this team on the money line, that's a loss. and we play, and this one would win, we would still make $0. Okay? It'd actually lose a little bit there. So one key concept is to play money line dogs in all sports, whether it's WNBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, etc. Because you can see in this particular example, on this day, we're able to turn a profit only cashing 50% of our wagers. Okay? Now we're going to move on to July the 20th. And depending on what year you're watching this video, this is July 20th, 2023. Now, what you're looking at now on this screen, these are my power rankings from yesterday. And the game we're going to look at, Baltimore and Tampa. Now, the second key concept we're going to talk about that's absolutely important in order for you to succeed in sports betting is you have to have a statistically driven model that proves to be more accurate than the sportsbook line. In this case, we had Baltimore minus 136. Tampa was plus 105. And we'll go down here and look at the line. Tampa Bay was minus 177. Now, the reason, and I talked about this on Instagram, Glassnow, who is basically their ace, more or less, the line in baseball, majority of the time, is influenced by starting pitching. However, as you know, there's three parts to Major League Baseball. There's hitting, starting pitching, and relief pitching. So 100% of the line was based on this one individual, but that only represents 33% of the handicapping of that game. Hitting, as you know, is the most important concept when handicapping Major League Baseball. So on this particular day here, we had Baltimore minus 136, and Baltimore was the second best hitting team via my power rankings for Major League Baseball. Now, also too, if you understand lines and models, so we had Tampa plus 105. So my model had them just a little bit under a 50% chance of winning. However, we had Baltimore minus 136. Now, underdogs cash about 40% of the time in Major League Baseball. Now, we know that with the model, the success we've had, it's a really good model. We're actually cashing right at 50% of our underdogs. So, therefore, we feel like Baltimore is a really good play. And also, too, look at this F5 line. We had Baltimore scoring 3 runs in the first 5 innings, and Tampa Bay only 2. And I think that was pretty close to the actual box score. Let's take a look at it. Yep, you can see there, I think it was actually Baltimore 3-1 after 5. So model was dead on the number. Now, again, same concept here. We don't know for certain that Baltimore is going to win this game, right? We're simply making a good wager, but based on how we handicap, we should win this wager 50% of the time. If we win 50% of the time at a line of plus 156, we will be profitable long term. And let me explain that. So this was the line we played. I'll explain these first 2 games in a second, but let's focus on this one here. Baltimore was plus 156. So what I'm going to teach you now is expected value. So 156. So let's say, hypothetically, this same scenario occurs 10 times. So we're going to win 5 of those games and lose 5. So 5 minus $100 is minus 500, right? Because if we're playing them at plus 156, when we lose, we're only losing 100. However, we're going to win 5 times. So we take 5 times 156, and that is 780. So 780 minus 500 gives us a profit of plus 280. And this is what is called expected value. And also another sort of money management technique, which is the third concept that we're focusing on. So we know the model's good, right? It basically confirms that Baltimore is a good play. We don't know if they're going to win, but we expect them to win 50% of the time, and if they do, we'll be profitable long term. Now let's go back to the wagers here. So, and we'll talk about this. So this did in fact win, but I want to back up what happened earlier in the day. So we played the WNBA Atlanta at plus 194. Now, going into this, the model for WNBA for me was 12-2. That's absolutely incredible and not sustainable, meaning like we can expect the model to regress. And what we mean by regress is basically lose. If the model goes 12-2, or if you go on a run of 12-2, you're not going to go on another 12-2 run. Possible, but highly, highly unlikely. In fact, you're probably going to go on a run under 50% because you're going to regress back to 50% in sports betting always. So therefore, I still wanted to play it because we had value via the model. So instead of risking, say, a third unit or half unit, I risk 1/10 unit, which was only $100. And I played them on the money line. The reason that is important, the line was Atlanta plus 5.5. So if I play plus 5.5 and they lose by 5.5, we're going to have to pay juice on that loss. And they ended up losing, I think, by 11. So even though this wager was a loss, we only lost 100 here. Okay. Next wager, we wagered a half unit on Minnesota. And these were the two plays that I like best here from the model. We'll go back and take a look. You can see there Minnesota was minus 146. Seattle was plus 113. We had value on the F5 line, which means we had a pitching advantage. And unfortunately, they lost, which losing, talked about this in the podcast, is normal. But I'm going to show you how we structured this card to turn a profit. So Minnesota's lost, and this is right before the final for this game was right before I placed this wager. And I want to talk about this because this is a very important concept to grasp as far as money management. So we're down $100 here. Now we lose this one. Now we're down we're down basically $600. That's 1/10 unit. Half a unit will be 500. So we're in the whole 600, right? Now, let's talk about what actually happened. Baltimore won, so we'll add this up for the day so you can see this over here, and we'll compare the two here. So this was 719, and this was on 720. Whoops. 720. So we lose Atlanta, so that's minus 100, and then we lose the next one, so it's 500. So now we're 600 in the hole going into this last wager. And so 156, so I'll show you what we won. So we won $780 on this one. For a profit of 180. So we won 110 and we won 180. Now, what's interesting to note, if you add these 2 days up, 1 and 1, and we go 1 and 2 here. So we only won 2 out of 5, which is 40%. So our win ratio was 40%. However, we turned a profit of 2.9, not 2.9 units, but we won basically $290, which for me is about 1/3 unit profit, which is really good. So if you were to do that, let's take 290 divided by 2. So each day we were averaging $145 profit. If you did that every single day for a year, that would total $52,925. Easy to calculate, but difficult to do. So again, just an illustration that it doesn't take much profit to make good money long term in a business. Now, another important concept, and this is related back to one of the key concepts I'm talking about in this video with regards to money management. Now, hypothetically, so we lose the Atlanta. Let's say Minnesota would have won, okay? I want to show you how I would structure this because I would not have wagered a half unit for Baltimore, and this is important. So let's add this up. So we lose, I'm just going to erase this to make it easy to see again. So we lose the Atlanta, and let's say Minnesota wins. So we would have won. Okay, Minnesota was 110 divided by 2 there. So we would have won $550. So we subtract. Now we would have been up $450. So hypothetically, let's pretend Atlanta lost, Minnesota won. Now, would we wager half a unit? No, and here's why. Because again, I've always run my sports betting career like a business. So we're in the green. We've profited $450, but I still like this Baltimore play. So instead of wagering a half unit, we would have wagered a third unit, $333. The reason being, if we lose the Baltimore match, even though they won the Baltimore game, now our profit would have been minus 333. We would have still profited $117 if Baltimore would have won. So again, same scenario, we would have gone 1 and 2, but still turned a profit. So I would not have wagered a half unit. And the reason being, if I wager, so we're up $450. If I wager a half unit, which is $500, and lose, now we're in the hole $50. Sorry about that. So again, very important to understand money management and understand your goal each day is to turn a profit. So to sort of summarize all of this together, key concept number 1, you have to play money line dogs in sports betting. Key concept number 2, you have to have a statistically driven model that is more accurate than the sportsbook line. And finally, you need very, very solid, creative, or fundamentally sound, profitable money management techniques. So hopefully this video brought you a ton of value. If you would like access to the power rankings you see here, you can do that by joining in the description box. There's a link to join, $50 a month. You get access to all of my lines for Major League Baseball, WNBA, and of course college football and NFL when it starts up in the next couple months. If you want access to everything I just mentioned in addition to all my plays, that's $100 a month. The best value is to join for an entire year. You save about $600, only cost $500. You get access to everything on the site for 1 year. Greatly appreciate you watching this video. Hopefully it brought you a ton of value. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.